AITA for refusing to let my fiancé's mother wear white to our wedding. I, 28M, am getting married to the love of my life, Sarah, 27F, in a few months. Everything has been going smoothly until recently, when a small but significant issue arose involving my future mother-in-law, Linda. Linda is the kind of person who prides herself on tradition. She's always talking about how things were done back in the day and how important it is to uphold family customs. I respect that, but I've always been a bit more flexible with these things. Sarah and I have tried to plan our wedding to be a reflection of us as a couple, a blend of tradition and our own modern twist. Here's where things get tricky. A couple of weeks ago, Linda announced that she would be wearing a white dress to our wedding. I was a bit taken aback. I mean, everyone knows that white is traditionally reserved for the bride, right? So I politely asked her if she could consider wearing a different color. I thought it was a reasonable request, but Linda wasn't having it. She told me that wearing white is a tradition in their family. Apparently, her mother wore white to her wedding, and her grandmother did the same. It's something that the women in their family do as a sign of purity and unity, or something like that. I didn't want to cause any tension, but this really didn't sit right with me. Sarah and I talked it over, and she agreed that it would make her uncomfortable. This is supposed to be our day, and Sarah should be the only one in white. So I decided to bring it up with Linda again. When I did, she accused me of being controlling and disrespectful to their family customs. She said I was dictating what she could wear, and that it wasn't fair to impose our views on her. This escalated into a pretty heated argument, and now things are awkward between us. My fiancée is caught in the middle and feeling stressed about the whole thing. She's always had a bit of a complicated relationship with her mom, and this is just making it worse. Linda has even threatened to not come to the wedding if she can't wear white, which has put us in a really tough spot. I don't want to alienate her, but at the same time, I feel strongly about this. I've tried to suggest compromises, like maybe she could wear a dress with some white accents instead of all white, but she's not budging. Now, some of my friends think I should just let her wear the dress and avoid the drama. They say it's just one day, and it's not worth the conflict. But others agree with me that it's our wedding, and we should be able to set boundaries. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to let my future mother-in-law wear white to our wedding? Should I stand my ground, or am I making too big a deal out of this? Update 1. Wow, I never expected my last post to blow up the way it did. Thanks to everyone who shared their thoughts. Reading your comments has been a wild ride. I wish I had a happier update, but things have escalated far beyond what I could have imagined. After the initial argument with Linda, I took some of your advice and tried to sit down with her for a heart-to-heart conversation. I explained that we respected her family traditions, but this was our wedding, and Sarah should be the only one in white. I even offered to help her find a beautiful dress in another color, maybe something in silver or lavender that would still feel special. But Linda wasn't interested in compromises. She doubled down, saying that if we didn't let her wear white, it would be a huge slap in the face to her and her family. She brought up all these traditions I mentioned earlier. The family photos, the white handkerchief, the supposed white blessing. She even went so far as to say that I was trying to erase their family history by denying her this one thing. Things got worse when she dragged the rest of the family into it. Suddenly, we were getting calls and messages from Sarah's aunts, uncles, and even her grandparents, all of them pressuring us to do the right thing and let Linda wear white. They accused us of being disrespectful and selfish, and a few of them even said they might not attend the wedding if we didn't relent. The whole thing turned into this massive family drama, with everyone taking sides. Sarah was devastated. She's always had a strained relationship with her mom, but this felt like a betrayal on a whole new level. She didn't want to cause a rift in her family, but she also didn't want to feel like a guest at her own wedding. We talked about it for hours, trying to figure out what to do. And then, things took a truly bizarre turn. Linda showed up at our house one evening, completely unannounced, with a garment bag in hand. She dramatically unzipped it to reveal 2 white dresses, one for her and one for Sarah. She claimed that if they both wore white, it would be a symbol of their unity, and that it would make the day even more special. Sarah was speechless, and I could see the hurt in her eyes. It was like Linda was trying to hijack our wedding to turn it into her own twisted vision. That was the final straw. Sarah broke down in tears, telling her mom that this was supposed to be her day, and that if Linda couldn't respect that, then maybe she shouldn't come at all. Linda responded with something I'll never forget. She said, "If you can't honor our family traditions, then maybe you're not ready to be part of this family." After that, Sarah asked her to leave, and I stood by her side. It was the hardest thing I've ever seen her do. The next day, we started getting texts from Linda saying she wouldn't attend the wedding if she couldn't wear white, and several other family members have since followed suit, threatening not to come. So here we are, less than 2 months before the wedding, and half of Sarah's family is threatening to boycott it. Sarah is heartbroken, and honestly, I'm just furious. I never imagined something like this would happen over a dress. We're considering eloping now, just to avoid the drama, but it feels like Linda has won if we do that. I'm at a loss, Reddit. This has gone from a simple disagreement about a dress to a full-blown family crisis. I just want to marry the woman I love without all this chaos. Is that too much to ask? After that last confrontation, Sarah and I were both emotionally drained. It felt like our dream wedding was turning into a nightmare, and we were both questioning how something as simple as a dress had spiraled out of control. The days that followed were tense. Sarah's family kept up the pressure, with some relatives trying to guilt-trip her by saying things like, "This isn't worth tearing the family apart over," and "You'll regret it if your mom isn't there on your big day." It was getting unbearable, and I could see it wearing Sarah down. So we decided to take a step back and really think about what mattered most to us. We both agreed that our wedding should be about celebrating our love, not about pleasing others or bending to unreasonable demands. After a long, heartfelt conversation, we made a decision. We were going to stick to our guns, but we were also going to take control of the situation. First, we sent a message to Linda. We told her that while we respected her traditions, our wedding was about us, and we weren't willing to compromise on something that made us uncomfortable. We also let her know that if she chose not to attend, we would respect her decision, but we wouldn't let it ruin our day. We made it clear that the invitation was still open, but only if she could come in the spirit of love and support. Then, we decided to call a meeting with Sarah's immediate family, the ones who had been the most vocal about this whole situation. We invited them to our house, and when they arrived, we calmly explained our side of things. We told them how much this wedding meant to us, how deeply hurt Sarah was by all the drama, and how we felt that something as simple as a dress shouldn't come between us. We asked for their understanding and support, but we also made it clear that we weren't going to back down. To our surprise, the meeting actually went better than expected. A few family members admitted that they hadn't realized how much this was affecting us, and that they had only sided with Linda out of a sense of loyalty. They apologized for adding to the stress and promised to be there for us, regardless of what Linda decided. Some of them even offered to help smooth things over with the rest of the family. After that, we turned our focus back to the wedding. We reached out to our vendors to confirm all the details and made sure everything was on track. We also took some time for ourselves, going on a weekend getaway to clear our heads and reconnect. It was exactly what we needed. As for Linda, she stayed silent for a while after our message. We weren't sure if she would show up on the wedding day, and honestly, we prepared ourselves for the possibility that she wouldn't. But about a week before the wedding, we received a package in the mail. Inside was a beautifully wrapped box with a note from Linda. The note simply said, "I love you both. See you soon." Inside the box was a light blue dress. On the day of the wedding, Linda arrived wearing that dress. She didn't bring up the white dress, the family traditions, or anything else from the past few weeks. She simply hugged Sarah, told her she looked beautiful, and took her seat. It wasn't a perfect reconciliation, but it was a start, and for the first time in weeks, we felt at peace. The wedding itself was everything we'd hoped for, filled with love, laughter, and the people who truly cared about us. We danced, we cried, and we celebrated the beginning of our life together. And in the end, that's what mattered most. Looking back, I don't regret standing our ground. It was hard, and it tested us in ways we never expected, but it also brought us closer together. So, I guess the answer to my original question is, no, I'm not the asshole for refusing to let my future mother-in-law wear white to our wedding. We did what we needed to do to protect our happiness, and I'm proud of us for that. Thanks again, Reddit, for all your support and advice. It helped us get through one of the toughest times in our lives, and for that, we're incredibly grateful. Update 2. This update is a bit more intense than I expected. Things took a turn that none of us anticipated, and I wanted to share what's happened since my last post. After we sent Linda the message and had the family meeting, we hoped things would calm down. For a few days, it seemed like that was the case. We focused on finalizing wedding plans and took time to ourselves to de-stress. But then, things escalated dramatically, and the situation took a turn we never saw coming. A week before the wedding, Linda showed up at our house again, but this time, it was with a group of people, her friends and a few extended family members. They came to talk things over, but it quickly became apparent that they weren't just there for a peaceful discussion. The atmosphere was tense and confrontational. Linda was clearly upset and had brought her own photographer along, who began taking pictures of our house and the surrounding area without asking for permission. The situation escalated quickly, with shouting and heated arguments. Sarah and I tried to remain calm and asked them to leave, but Linda refused and continued to argue, insisting that we were ruining her family's reputation and traditions. Things got out of hand when one of Linda's friends threatened to make a scene at the wedding, claiming they would expose us if Linda didn't get her way. That's when we realized things had gone beyond a mere family dispute and needed to be addressed seriously. We called the police to de-escalate the situation. When they arrived, Linda and her group were still outside our house, and the scene was chaotic. The officers spoke with everyone involved and, thankfully, managed to calm things down. They advised Linda and her friends to leave and not return unless they were invited. The police also suggested we document any further interactions and file a report if the harassment continued. After the police left, we were left feeling shaken and unsure about how to proceed. We knew we had to take additional steps to protect ourselves and ensure that the wedding went off without a hitch. We contacted our venue to inform them of the situation and asked them to be prepared for any disruptions on the day of the wedding. We also briefed our wedding coordinator and made sure they were aware of the potential issues. The venue staff was incredibly supportive and assured us they would help manage any unexpected situations. On the day of the wedding, Linda and her friends did not show up, which was a relief. The wedding went on as planned, and despite the drama leading up to it, it turned out to be a beautiful day. The support from our friends and family who were there made all the difference. In the aftermath, we've taken steps to ensure our boundaries are respected and have been working on mending the relationship with Sarah's family, though it's clear things may never be the same. We're focusing on our new life together and trying to move forward from the chaos. So, to answer the original question, was I the asshole for refusing to let my fiancé's mother wear white? I still don't think so. Standing up for ourselves and our vision for our wedding was important, even though it led to unexpected and extreme reactions. After the wedding, Sarah and I took some time to recover and enjoy our new life together. The day itself was perfect, and we were so grateful for the support from the friends and family who showed up. However, the aftermath of the situation with Linda didn't just fade away. After Linda and her friends didn't attend the wedding, Sarah's family was split. Some relatives were still angry with us for not backing down, while others began to understand our perspective better. There were a lot of awkward conversations and strained relationships. It was clear that repairing these relationships would take time, and it wasn't something we could fix overnight. Linda continued to be a major point of contention. She didn't attend the wedding, but she did start spreading negative stories about us. Some of these were exaggerated or outright false, and she posted multiple rants on social media about how we had disrespected her and her family's traditions. This led to some public backlash, and we received messages from people we didn't know criticizing us based on her claims. Given the threats and harassment, Sarah and I decided to consult a lawyer about our options. We were advised to file a formal harassment complaint to create a legal record of the incidents. We also looked into family mediation as a way to address the underlying issues with Linda in a structured setting. While mediation was an option, it would require Linda's willingness to participate, which was uncertain. Sarah and I focused on rebuilding our life and our relationship with those family members who were open to reconciliation. We spent time reconnecting with those who had been supportive and worked on creating positive experiences for ourselves and our friends. We also set firm boundaries with Linda, making it clear that while we were open to future communication, it had to be respectful and not involve public drama. To our surprise, a few months after the wedding, Linda reached out with a heartfelt apology. She admitted that her actions had been extreme and that she had let her emotions get the best of her. She expressed regret for the way things had turned out and wanted to make amends. It wasn't an easy process, and we took it very cautiously, but it was a step towards healing. We agreed to meet with her, but we set clear boundaries about the nature of future interactions. Through all of this, Sarah and I have grown closer. The challenges we faced together strengthened our relationship and taught us a lot about handling conflict and maintaining our own values amidst external pressures. We're focusing on our future and creating a life that aligns with our values, free from unnecessary drama. It's clear that some wounds will take longer to heal, but we're moving forward with a renewed sense of purpose and commitment to each other. Comments. Username. Barbie. Honestly, I think you were being a bit inflexible with your future mother-in-law. I understand that white is traditionally reserved for the bride, but it sounds like this was a deeply rooted tradition in Linda's family. Maybe you could have found a middle ground instead of making it a major point of contention. It's one day, and it seems like you and Sarah were willing to jeopardize important family relationships over something that could have been managed with a bit more compromise. Family traditions are important too, and it's a shame you didn't try harder to honor them. Username. Rita the Nearest Show. I'm sorry, but I have to call it out. Linda's reaction was completely over the top. If she was willing to involve friends and make threats just because she couldn't wear white, that's a huge red flag about her character. It sounds like she was trying to manipulate the situation to get her way, and you and Sarah were right to stand your ground. But I do wonder if there was a way you could have handled it differently before it escalated. Regardless, no one should have to deal with that kind of drama over something that should be a celebration. Operispons. Thanks for your thoughts, everyone. I appreciate the feedback and understand that different perspectives can offer valuable insights. Regarding the comment from Barbie, I do see where you're coming from. I genuinely tried to find a compromise by suggesting alternate colors and addressing the situation respectfully. However, it felt like Linda was not willing to be flexible at all, and it became more about her insistence than about celebrating our wedding. We did hope for a middle ground, but it seemed like it wasn't possible given her stance. As for the comment from Rita the Generis show, I agree that Linda's reaction was extreme. The threats and involvement of her friends made it clear that things had gone beyond a normal disagreement. We did try to handle the situation calmly and were open to resolution, but it reached a point where maintaining boundaries became crucial for our own sanity and the integrity of our wedding. In hindsight, I wish things could have been different, but we had to prioritize our happiness and well-being amidst all the drama. Thanks again for your input. It helps us process everything and move forward.